What you say, Sil? Should we do the thing now? The teams I push are the same ones you bring down. The ponies I praise you wouldn't even sing about. But watch somebody come back from the brink now. Hey, what you say, Sil? Should we do the thing now? Some squads switch up and that's the thing now. You can be anything now, but consistent, I guess that's the only mission for a king now. And who's the king? Who's just a jester? Who reminds me of Devin Hester? Who's playing like they left her, hitting hoes for pleasure, while y'all search yours for treasure to no measure. I find mine with less effort and no sweat work. The best perk is that I'm always right. My opinion shouldn't cause a fight, but they might out at night cause your QB bites. So now it's on sight, I'm just looking down sights, waiting for a slip up. Dog, your shoelaces make you trip up, so you should find a zip up and pull it to where your fucking list was. Check yourself, this ain't get up, it's been up since the last countdown. Working on the fucking craft that they always count out. This is down now, but not out, so what you talking about? Don't get it twisted, I'm pulling switches like a pilot. I'm not flying, I'm just driving. I'm smiling cause life is gravy, stuff with struggles, but that's what fucking made me. Haters with turkeys, eating wormies, they ain't worthy, they do me dirty. But I'm not Brock Purdy, more like Tom Shirley. I know you heard me, but did you hear me? I said I know you heard me, but did you hear me? My dumb ass. Am I good? Hey, what you say, sir? Should we do the thing now? The teams I push are the same ones you bring down. The ponies I praise you wouldn't even sing about. But watch somebody come back from the brink now. Hey, what you say, sir? Should we do the thing now? So swatch this up and that's the thing now. You can be anything now, but consistent, I guess that's the only mission for a king now. Hey, and who's the king? Who's the king? Who's the king? Put your rain down. Man, I don't care what you think about. Get out my chest, that's the thing about. We back. We back like we never left. Has it been a couple of days? Oh my God. It is almost week 9. Happy Halloween, everybody. Thank you for watching this, for being here live. If you're here live and catching the replay, this music is loud, all right? Just like some of these victories were loud over the weekend. And somebody who's got a lot to say about it, man. I can't wait to get to the worst 5 teams in the NFL, because I feel like that's where a lot of the conversation is going to be. But for me, I can't wait till Necron sees where I have his Cowboys on the power rankings this week, and I'm sure still you can't wait to see either. How you doing today, bro? How you doing tonight?
Hey, that's the question. Will the Cowboys, after falling down the top 10 without losing, will they get back up by winning? I don't know, right? They're on my power rankings, but this was a very interesting week going into week 9. It's topsy-turvy. That's what I see with the power rankings right now.
Topsy-turvy, just like over there in Fantasyland and Sci-Fi World, they're getting a little timey-wimey, right, with the Amazon stuff. Let's get a little topsy-turvy over here in the NFL. And it absolutely is, man. I mean, for me, you're going to see a couple of teams with like more than 3 spaces that they've dropped or they've risen on For Syl, I didn't get past like a 3. Some people got Sparta kicked off, but other people, I'm like, okay, they didn't really slide that much as I thought they would, at least, you know.
Couple victims for me this week. I'm enjoying the Sparta kick because like it has to wake them up. Like, hey man, this is my top 10. You disappointed me, right? Yeah, this is Sparta.
This is Sparta, dude. I'm pissed too because oh my god, I forgot to write that down. I'm writing it down right now. I need to get that drop right now.
The drop for I
need to get that spot.
It's perfect because when I get someone off my top 10, it's like you can't just show back up next week and get back on. Like I'm kicking you off for a reason. I've been disappointed for a couple weeks in a row. All right, so it's very dramatic for me when you get kicked off.
Absolutely, yeah. And a lot of the teams that think that we kicked off, actually, that's on their 3rd week of losing. Like if you lose 1, all right. If you lose 2, you're sliding down. But you 3, get the heck off the power. Yeah.
So I know Israel knows what's coming with that. But it's like
Israel and Daniel, by the way.
They got high standards, but there's a silver lining. We'll talk about that later.
Absolutely. There's a chance, and it's only week 8, the end of week 8. That's where we're gonna encapsulate this trick or treat, because it was before we get into the power rankings. We got to talk about the trade deadline, bro. I mean, it was absolutely wild. So let's get right into that. I mean, I want to hear from you. We were talking earlier before the stream started, like who I said, oh, this is crazy. And you were kind of busy, so you didn't really react to it. But let me get your full reaction now to kind of like what really the impacts that you saw from all of these today.
So as we see here, this is the whole, Adam Schefter, the guy from ESPN. This is the whole year's trade. So we knew about Cam Akers and Chase Claypool and all that stuff. Randy Gregory was a good pickup by the 49ers early in the year. But the trade deadline stuff is like from like Rasul Douglas and up, right? So I'll just kind of recap that briefly. Now, does any of these changes like is it like impact? There's a few on here now. Starting with Rasul Douglas to the Bills, they lost like all their cornerbacks, all their linebackers. Yeah. So this is a corner, or this is a DB. So they probably can slide him anywhere in the secondary. They definitely need. The Bills are very leaky. Not to diss Baker Mayfield, but what I'm saying, he was finding pockets in that zone, and so this will help. This is an all-pro level, or at least a Pro Bowl level DB. Rasul Douglas coming from the Packers, right? So the Packers are sellers. I told you about my bottom 5. They're sellers. They know they're not going to make anything, so it's time to sell some players. I'm surprised some teams didn't sell, so that's going to be interesting as well too. But People Jones from the Browns, which was actually a shocking trade. Yeah, because the Browns are still in contention for their division.
They're both in our top 10.
They're trading their receiver. It's like a second or third receiver because it's about Amari Cooper over there with the Browns and then Njoku, the tight end. So Detroit, we've been saying, I think just offhand all year is saying, okay, Amon-Ra, he's the man over there. The tight end, the rookie tight end with the Lions is great as well. LaFlorida. Jameer Gibbs is getting loose as far as with running back and receiving running back. He's on my fantasy team.
First game back, dude.
And, that's why I didn't trade him. And so adding another weapon, Peoples Jones is like a sleeper, like a fantasy guy. First off, I don't know how it's going to change with the Lions, but this is another pass catcher for Jared Goff and the Lions. Just kind of shoring up their offense. So that was a great pickup for the Lions, getting another receiver. Now I want to get your thoughts on this next guy, Joshua Dobbs, Austin. I knew he was going to get picked up from somewhere. It's like when you heard Kyler Murray was coming back, you're like, okay, the Dobbs story is over, right? Like they're going to play Kyler Murray. Plus they have a rookie they drafted as well too. So it's like I knew that his story was done with the Cardinals, but he's a smart guy. He's mobile. He can make, intermediate throws. Yeah. So he's got to have a job somewhere as a backup, right? The Vikings pick him up because Captain Kirk is out for the year, ACL. Word is Achilles. Aaron Rodgers. Achilles. Word is Aaron Rodgers gave him a call, so he may go to the same doctor to try. He's not going back to next year at all. But that's really, you know what I'm saying, that sucks because I was starting to be on this bandwagon, Captain Kirk, but he's out for the year. The roster has been playing great defensively. You find out you got like 3 receivers now on that team outside of Justin Jefferson. Dobbs to Vikings, Austin, they're saying they may play the rookie first and get Dobbs up to speed. What do you think about that? The Vikings trading for Dobbs, trying to make this playoff push.
I probably have one of the most hilarious thoughts about this. Okay. And it's no shade on Joshua Dobbs in any way, shape, or form, right? And I don't mean to like make fun of his appearance, right? But he kind of like has the bland like John Doe face, right? I don't know if anybody remembers like 2K18, 2K16, but there was a time where they had a player on every bench named like John Smith, and he looked the same. Yeah. He had the same everything. Like that's Joshua Dobbs, dude. I'm sorry. He played decent on the Titans. Then Arizona needed somebody. All right, let's get the substitute teacher, Joshua Dobbs, and now the Vikings need somebody. So, and I guess like he's good enough, right, to play a starter in the NFL. He last game against a Ravens defense that held Jared Goff to only like 3 points in an abysmal performance. He still threw 25 for 37, 208 yards, 2 TDs, albeit 2 interceptions, right? And that kind of erases each other, but he still did throw for two touchdowns. Whether the 2 interceptions came first and then he got 2 touchdowns to make up for it. I didn't watch the game myself, so I don't know, but I will say he is good enough to get them maybe into the playoffs or at least like for wild card contention with the rest of the offense and who they have. But I will say like Kirk Cousins gives you the most hope, gives you the most.
He was balling, man.
You know? He's calling plays. Balling. He knows enough, and knows more, I would say, than Joshua Dobbs coming in. Has enough command of the Vikings offense, of the organization, enough respect where he can go to a line and kind of shrug off an offensive coordinator call and maybe call his own plays. Not that we hear that much about Kirk Cousins, but I'm sure that he does that, right? There's no reason why you give him the contract that he does, that he has and not give him that opportunity. But yeah, dude, I think it remains to be seen. I'm an optimistic guy, right? I'm a pessimistic optimist. For Joshua Dobbs, I think he can go in, and if he studies enough and he has enough of the right things happen at the right time for him on the football field, then he can perform. But it's just like shoring up the mistakes. Now we'll also see kind of an exhibit on coaches and coordination too, because now you get to see 7 weeks of Joshua Dobbs with the Cardinals, and now he's going to go play with the Vikings. Like, how much of a difference is it? How much better or worse does he play? That's kind of a cool thing to take a look at too. He's obviously got to play, but hey, maybe the rookie comes in and shows out and shows up, and he doesn't, and he's just a backup quarterback.
And that's the question there. I forget the kid's name, but word is they're going to run out the rookie first because he already knows the system. You bring in someone like Dobbs, off the street like he did with the Cardinals because he's a smart guy. He can pick up the system. You can do a vanilla style, and then he'll catch on because he's evasive if your offensive line sucks, which the Cardinals did. So, we'll see what happens there. The jury's still out, but right now, as the Viking stands, if the season ended today, I'll probably start sending you those images I see every week where like if the playoffs started today, right now the Vikings are in the last spot, seven spot wild card for the NFC. I mean, they have a fighting chance. In the NFC North, they're not catching the Lions. We'll talk more about the Lions later. the Lions, we knew they got their butt whooping, but they got right. So
and they got Peoples-Jones, dude. Like they didn't do.
You're bolstering up that offense, right? Now you can't double Amon-Ra, every time. I mean, he's on an All-Pro season right now. Like this dude's getting 10 catches a game. It seems like Amon-Ra St. Brown. So the Vikings, they still can make that run because they have their defense started showing up. Justin Jefferson's probably a week away from coming back, and then you find out you have a dog in Jordan Addison. The rookie receiver is crazy out there, and Osborne is low key here and there, helping out as well. Then they have that tight end. I forget his name off the top of my head that they got from the Lions before. They have a full receiving core. Hawkinson. So, hey, you roll this out with a competent quarterback, solid defense, you can make the playoffs in the NFC, right? Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. A few days ago, the Kevin Byard trade happened with the Eagles from the Titans. Solid for the Eagles. Yeah, they got the safety, so they're just loading up. That's what the Eagles do them and the 49ers, which we'll talk about in just a second. But I got to get some love to my baby Bears. We kind of grown up a little bit here. Montez Sweat, we've been saying week to week. That's why when me and Austin is doing our countdowns, we're not just wishful thinking saying the Redskins the Commanders are sellers because I don't know, right? Classic, real Washington fans. They know I met one actually person. They was like, no, our name is this. I was like, okay,
bro. I have a Redskins sweatshirt, and I'm not getting rid of it.
The old days. But anyway, right now they're the Commanders, right? So we'll respect that. But we were saying that anyone on their D-line can be traded. They ended up trading two people from their D-line. And the two best players from their D-line, Montez Sweat, is so perfect for the Bears because this is a guy, he's not going to break the bank on you because he's like I think he's like 27. So he already had one contract already. He's just trying to get secure for his future. Aside from Chase Young, who is all pro level, he's going to break the bank, and we'll talk about him in a moment. But so I'm glad the Bears got Montez Sweat out of the two. Either two, obviously I would be happy with this. But you're building for the future. The defense, we have a decent cornerback in Jalen Johnson. He may get paid in the offseason, and that's literally all we have on defense. We have Montez Sweat and that one corner. Right? So there's a start right there.
The start.
Football is about, you got to get to the quarterback, defense, and run the ball. Like those are components to winning the game, right? And you just don't throw the ball away. Don't turn the ball over. Those like simple things, simple concepts. And the Bears, they got to get to the quarterback. So we'll see what happens, as far as building on to that pass rush. And then now they got to figure out, competent quarterback. So we'll see what happens over the offseason overall. But the trade of the day, Austin, I think, Israel came in talking about that. The trade of the day is Chase Young to the 49ers. Like, this isn't fair. Okay? Fair. Now, this is really saying something about the 49ers roster. Why were they kind of leaky for 3 weeks in a row? Because they weren't getting to the quarterback. Well, you have Nick Bosa. That's like defensive player of the year caliber right there. Double him, chip him. No one else was getting to the quarterback.
Yep.
Right? So now you put Chase Young on the other side. Game over, bro. This is solving the problem because their secondary is not as good. Even the most stout 49ers fan will realize people were getting passes off against the 49ers like crazy for the last month. Right? Ever since Dak Prescott didn't do anything, Necron. Then all of a sudden, everyone else figured out the 49ers. and so they're like, okay, I know everyone's blaming Brock Purdy. And so, no, Brock Purdy's the same player he's been the whole time. This is defense. The defense wasn't showing up, man. So now you put Chase Young on the other side. Now those corners don't have to cover as long. There's going to be quicker passes. That means linebackers like Fred Warner, all pro Fred Warner. You'll make more plays in the middle of the field. So, you're not waiting out the defense so much now. So this was a super move for the 49ers. I don't know how long they're going to keep this guy, though, but this is kind of trying to fix the problem right now. Why are the 49ers losing 3 games in a row? No reason for the roster they have. I think, Austin, this, again, helps the defense. And, again, they're not sitting there trying to cover people. You saw what Kirk Cousins just did to them, man. Like, picked them apart, picked them alive.
Yeah, right.
PJ Walker picking them apart. It's like, okay, what's going on here, right? Now with this, I mean, don't you think now they're going to get to the quarterback, right? For Chase Young.
It's on the opposite side, yeah. And Nick Bosa and Chase Young have been playing long enough where they're versatile too. Like they can go a little bit on the inside. Imagine if you overload Bosa and Chase Young on one side, if offensive line has a weakness too, like. Oh, the tackle's a backup. Let's both send both of them on the same side.
Like, fair.
Yeah, exactly. So
they still got Randy Gregory. Now he's not, Pro Bowl status Randy Gregory, but
Right
he's
now.
still, you overload one side and put Randy Gregory on the other side.
Yeah.
Somebody's getting home, right?
That's a hard third down to convert. And even there, like now you give Chase Young, it's a young body to spell these other veterans that are on the defense there for the 49ers. And a quick mention, besides that being unfair to the rest of the league, it does make me feel though, I would say it makes me feel like the Patriots kind of back in like the 2011 days when they picked up James Harrison, they picked up Debo for the their Super Bowl run, and they picked up a couple other defensive people. We got James Collins back, or Jamie Collins back. It's bolstering up. They obviously have a plan. They don't plan not to do anything this postseason.
It's funny when you said it makes you think of the Patriots. I was thinking of the other team, that perfect season, the Giants.
Oh,
that D line was Strahan, Justin Tuck, OC. Like they had I think it was called the NASCAR option on D line, but they had 4 pass rushers on the D line. Insane. You would never see that again. But the 49ers are going to be the closest to that. It took like 10 years for a team to get enough D line. Now the Commanders was close, just you didn't know their name. Nobody knew who they were as far as on the D line. With the 49ers, Nick Bosa, everyone knows who he is as far as defensively. Chase Young, they got Armstead. They had Randy Gregory. They can really do like a NASCAR type. I mean, again, that's talking about 4 guys who can go inside and outside, pass rush, stop the run. This is scary, man.
It's gonna look like Swiss cheese, dude. The offensive line is Swiss cheese, bro. But I do want to say a quick little honorable mention to the trades that were made today. Shout out to Jacksonville. They picked up Ezra Cleveland, who is the Vikings offensive lineman. Obviously, they're bolstering up their offensive line, trying to protect Trevor Lawrence, give him a little more time. Give Calvin Ridley a little more time to get over him. And Leonard Williams is actually a defensive end from the Giants who went to Seattle. So Seattle's bolstering up their defense as well over there in the NFC
getting high
West.
on Seattle too. Yeah, I meant to mention that. That's a solid pickup. Again, who are sellers? The Giants are sellers. They know they're not winning this year. Leonard Williams, he could play inside and actually end as well too, like a 3-4 technique. So that's a big guy right there. And hey, Seattle they're just like that average, like tough team, and they're just bolstering up.
Yeah, dude. And it's about that time, man. I think we both have Seattle in the freaking top 10 for us today. So this is the top 10. The Eagles for you finally made it to number 1, dude. You finally see the Eagles at number 1, bro. But do you see how far the Chiefs have fallen? You lose to the Denver Broncos, but you can't even score a touchdown. Come on, bro. I'm gonna let you go through yours first.
You got the Chiefs way down there. Oh my god,
bro. Come on, bro. Everybody else won this week, bro. They did not win. They did not win. So, but let me hear you why the Eagles went up finally.
So we'll attack this from the top here. The Eagles, again, they've been holding pace all year. I've been kind of second guessing them until they start playing really good teams and winning. So I gotta give the Eagles props. You play who's in front of your schedule and you execute. So the Eagles, they've been the most steady team of the year. Plus they have the best record in the NFL. Rightfully so. So top for a reason. Again, when they beat up the Dolphins, I was like, okay, this is the Eagles football. Like, Hurts is still not 100%, so that could be scary, for the rest of the season for everybody else, right? So the Lions coming in at number 2. Again, once they got that butt whooping with the Ravens, a lot of people jumped off the bandwagon really quick. I was like, no, they're still top 5. Like the Lions ain't, they're gonna handle their business. Everybody else may mess up around them, right? And that's what happened this week. The Lions just, showed up and did what they had to do Monday night. No surprises, but Jahmyr Gibbs, this is the future running back they got. You got Laporta, tight end. You're bolstering up your offense. The Lions, this is maybe a hot take. This is going to be a hot take. I'm going to say it right now.
Oh.
I'm going to say this right now. If this is a qualifier to this.
Okay.
If the Eagles lose to the Cowboys this upcoming week, the Lions will have the number 1 seed in the NFC. That's what I'm going to say right now. So that's my bold prediction, week 9, because I think the Lions, they may only lose one more game for the rest of the year. If you look at their schedule, They have like one of the easiest schedules in the league. And they are one of the most complete teams, them and the Eagles. So mark that down. The Lions,
wow,
they're going to get one of the two top seeds, I think, in it because the 49ers, kind of squandered a little bit. And I don't believe in the Cowboys. So we'll see what happens with that. Chiefs, bad loss, right? Bad loss from the Chiefs. I mean, I know they're saying Mahomes was sick and things like that. I was mad they shoveled all the snow away. I was really mad about that. I was like, I wanted to see a game in some snow. Right? Come on now. Here's the football, right? And so that's why they lost now. But, hey, the Chiefs, they always have one or two games each year where they just don't show up. This was another game. So I didn't overreact as much as Austin did with that loss. I was just like, hey, you took one on the chin from a division rival. You should be okay, going forward, right? The Cowboys benefiting from people failing around them, right? So they're moving up. They did destroy the Rams. Props to the Cowboys. But this may be as high as you get. If you don't beat the Eagles, you will not get back in the top 5 in my power rankings. Cowboys. You better show up against the Eagles because this may be you peaking in week 8 of the year, right? The Ravens at number 5. A lot of people, a lot of other, like, I guess, expert analysts, they're like, oh, the Ravens should be like top 3. It's like, again, this is what I tried to say. When they destroyed the Lions, I was like, oh, yeah, the Ravens look like the best team in the league that day.
Yeah, they did.
I never second-guessed Lamar Jackson. I second-guessed his teammates, his receivers. Sometimes his defense gets a little weird. Shout out to Gus Edwards on my fantasy team. Got 3 touchdowns as well. When he trained, knows about that. So it's like the Ravens, I'm trying to be measured with them until they do another like peak win because they didn't like dominate the Cardinals like they should have, this past weekend. So I was like, okay, Ravens, y'all right where y'all need to be, number 5. And we're just waiting for you to have another big matchup against someone. And, they either move up or down from that.
Right.
The Dolphins got spanked a couple weeks ago, but they're holding pace. Tyreek Hill and Tua, 2 of my MVP candidates. We'll talk about that later. Big fan of the Dolphins, but, they're going to be in the top 10 all year because they're going to win like 11 or 12 games. You already know. They just scored too many points. But it's those big games, man. Like, they got to start winning some of these big matchups. And, we'll see what happens next time because that's another team that if you keep losing to these top teams, you're going to be in the bottom half or possibly out of the top 10, by the end of the season. Bursting the bubble. I like that caption right there. The Seahawks, they've been hanging there all year. I was like, I want to put the Seahawks, but I'm not ready. Like, we'll see. They've been holding pace. The 12's been showing up. They only got 2 losses. They're now division leaders of the NFC West because the 49ers got more losses now. Yep. They haven't played each other yet. That's going to be a very important game when the Seahawks play the 49ers. And they play each other twice for this year. Very interesting. Seahawks, that may be a sleeper team all year. We'll revisit them throughout the season. The Jaguars, I wasn't too much impressed, but it's like you got a good record. I'm still not impressed with the Jags. So they beat a good team. The only really good team they played so far was the Chiefs, and they couldn't score on them, basically. So I'm not impressed by it. Their defense is good. I'm going to give their defense some credit, coaching credit. It's about the quarterback. He's not doing enough. Trevor Lawrence is not doing enough. I do love Travis Etienne. He is all-pro level running back. He's doing everything on offense. I really just can't get the ball, right? So the Browns, I've been high on the Browns early, especially because of their defense. But I always said, man, beware for their quarterback situation. Like if Deshaun Watson ain't there long-term as far as during this year, this team could slide because P.J. Walker is not the answer. Okay, he's not. People want to be all high on him. Oh, he's the backup. He's not. No. P.J. Walker, you do not want P.J. Walker playing these many games if you want to make the playoffs. So hopefully Deshaun, I mean, if one more week it takes or whatever, but if Deshaun's not back in this lineup in another week, they're going to be out of the top 10 because they're not going to win enough games with that. And another burst in the bubble, the Bengals out of nowhere. Joe Burrow, that calf is getting a little more healthy. Jamar Chase is swagging out on everyone on the field. And the Bengals defense is solid. And they put it to the 49ers. They earned their right on my top 10. The Bengals, I think they're only going to rise because Hey, man, a healthy Joe Burrow or semi-healthy Joe Burrow, and you got that passing attack. I think the Bengals, they're going to start making a lot of noise in this top 10. So that rounds up my top 10 with the Bengals sneaking in there, man.
Dude, what a great top 10. I think we agreed on every team. I don't think there was one team that we didn't or not have. Like last week, I had the Falcons in, who I Sparta kicked off, but we'll get to the Sparta kicks in a second. We both have the Eagles at number 1. I had them there last week because they were playing. To me, they had a better game than the Chiefs, and I just didn't want to put the Chiefs at number 2. I'm glad I didn't, because the Chiefs had one of the worst losses I've ever seen the Chiefs. I did not expect that game to. I kept flipping back. I'm like, no way. Is this Russell? Is this Russell Wilson of old? Like, he's just running all over the place too, like getting first downs, and then the defense for the Denver defense this is what we thought they were going to be, and they stopped Travis Kelce, and then what? You have no answers, Kansas City. Like, what are we going to do? So, of all the reason why they fell for me so much, this is power rankings, right? How'd you play last week? They lost. Every other team that moved past them won. The Cowboys, they won very convincingly. Congrats to you, Necron. Like, that's a game.
They were on the top 10. Now they're number 3. That's amazing.
Hey, man. Bye week over. Power on, dude. Power on. But hey, they scored 43 points. That's like one of the most the highest score, one of the highest scores, if not the highest score. Yeah, it was the highest score last week. They've scored 40 a couple of times this year, and it was against the Los Angeles Rams. Like, that game wasn't even close. It wasn't like just because they scored so much. It's kind of how they won. They had 33 points in like the first half, if I'm not mistaken. So it was a very convincing win. I'll give them credit, as they do. And Dak didn't mess up the game that much, but he still had a pick 6, which I think is hilarious. But anyways, Dak being Dak. And then the Lions last night, they won. They won convincingly, like they should at home. This is where my point of contention with a lot of teams is, are you going to win the games you're supposed to win? Right? Are you going to win that? And they did last night. They didn't give the Raiders any hope. That might be due in part too with the Raiders being so bad as a team, which we'll get into that later, because they were, I think they're mentioned somewhere. And Necron says, yeah, to me about the Cowboys, what a recovery from the Sparta kick for the Cowboys. Yeah, dude, they played and they're on the power rankings this week. But yeah, the Lions, they jumped up 4 after having a very bad loss last week. When I said it last week, I said, hopefully this is just a one-off. Hopefully this is just a bad game by the Lions, and they have another good win next week, and they look like they should, like they have been all year. And that's what we saw. It was kind of like, let's really write off week 7, Ravens versus the Lions. That may have been a fluke game. I don't know. It may have been a fluke game for the Ravens too, like how everyone played that game, because it was a full, complete game. We didn't see that this week against the Arizona Cardinals, even though they won. So the Lions winning like they did on Monday night in primetime. One of the first times that they had a Monday night primetime game in a very long time, and they did it convincingly. So congrats to the Lions. Dan Campbell biting kneecaps, back up to 4th place for me. And they were at number 3 at one point on my power rankings, dude. Then we both had the Jaguars. Didn't move, right? They both didn't move. They won. They won, but we were like unimpressed. Like this offense has so much more potential, man. So much more potential. Now, hopefully, getting offensive linemen for the Vikings helps you out, and it helps you get more time and get a little more creative. When there's more time for the quarterback, there's always more opportunities. So hopefully that means that Trevor Lawrence can find the guy, and the guy is Calvin Ridley. All right, and just letting you know, not for my fantasy team, but just because that's the guy. That's who you should have. But yeah, they won, but they stayed put. And then right above them, the Ravens fall from 3. They're very convincing win over the Lions, but then a very lackluster win against the Arizona Cardinals. Like, I know the Cardinals gave the Cowboys a fit and they beat the Cowboys, but like, they're 1-7, right? So there's no reason why it shouldn't have been another very convincing, if not more convincing, win against the Cardinals. But somehow you let Joshua Dobbs throw 208 yards and 200 touchdowns on you. So that's why you fell from 3 to 6 for me, Ravens. And I think they'll probably stay put. There'll probably be another win or some sort, and they'll just stay put. They'll be in that Jaguars range for me. Like, are you going to have a complete game for more than one game? Or is it just going to be one of those outlier games? Like, yes, we put it all together, and that's it. And then, like, all right, but you got to come back and do it next week, guys. So hopefully that's what it is. And then the Chiefs, I got at 7. Dude, they almost got a Sparta kick. No, I'm just kidding. They wouldn't get they didn't. But it was that is one of the worst losses I've seen them have as a team. They didn't score a touchdown. It was kind of like the Super Bowl against the Buccaneers, where they didn't score a touchdown then either. Like, I never thought I'd see that was a Super Bowl winning team that they faced, not this year's Denver Broncos. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are two different things, and I did not expect that to play out the way that it did. And Harrison Butker was the only one scoring points in that game, and it was just an abysmal performance by the Chiefs, man. In my eyes, if you lose, you got to fall in the rankings, and if everybody else won, I mean, you got to fall below them. So they fell below the Ravens. Every other team on this list who's above them scored double digits. The Chiefs did not. They scored 9 points.
And just real quick, the Chiefs' next opponent is the Dolphins. So this is going to solve my Dolphins competition problem. Dolphins better show up against the Chiefs, but hey, the Chiefs better show up too.
Yeah, right.
I think that's in Germany.
Yeah, exactly. So get your sleep, get acclimated, make sure you guys are ready to go. But I wouldn't be surprised if Pat Mahomes and Kelsey come up to play in Germany. That's a big stage. You know, the stars come to play in big moments. We'll see, though. We'll see. And then I got the Seahawks bursting the bubble. We got the same teams bursting the bubble, bro. Seahawks, they're just consistent, bro. They played in the throwbacks over the weekend, looking clean. Tyler Lockett getting lifted into the end zone on touchdowns, celebrations, man, looking like it's 2013 again. I love it, man. Or whenever he started catching, TDs, the long ball TDs from Russell Wilson. But nah, this isn't Russell Wilson's team anymore. It is, I can't even think of it. It's Geno Wilson, bro. It's Geno's team. Smith. Geno Wilson. What the hell am I saying, bro? Geno Smith. Geno Smith, man. And he's piloting the team. That's all you got to do, right? It's his second coming as a starting quarterback. He deserves the job, obviously, and he's making the numbers. I wouldn't be surprised if they make some moves. They have the roster to do so. They got a very strong defense. All they got to do is shut down the other team and score more points, right? That's what the football is. Very simple. So I wouldn't be surprised if Seahawks go up a little bit more, remain consistent for me, and I love it. Consistency is key in the NFL, and they're playing good at the right time, just like who you have bursting the bubble, the Bengals, dude. I talked about it in a good countdown. They went to the Super Bowl, and they felt what it was like to lose. After that, you look at the tape, you got to go back. Like, what did we do wrong? Where did it go wrong? How can we improve? And a big part of a season in sports and athletics is peaking at the right time. And that's what I thought they were doing. I think they're kind of get on the get right. It's fine that they came out stumbling, right? I don't think anybody in the Bengals organization was worried. We're all like, yo, what the hell is happening to Joe Burrow? And they're all like, what? What is that? Like, he's chilling, dude. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And that's kind of what's happening right now. I have full faith in the Bengals kind of getting back to where we thought they were going to be to start the season. And now kind of getting into November, they start humming. They become the contender instead of the pretender. And they outright lead their division. Now it's going to be a little bit of a climb up there to get to the Ravens, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's kind of more of where we end the season is the Ravens Bengals, because the Browns, like you said, we got no captain at the fucking helm, dude. What are we doing? We got a second mate steering the ship right now. We don't need that. We need a captain, and Deshaun Watson needs to get his crap together, man. I mean, I don't really know how big his contract was, but like the people in Cleveland, they had the Bears locked up a couple of seasons ago until Baker Mayfield won them a game and then won them a playoff game. What have you done for Cleveland so far, Deshaun Watson? Do you know what they gave up for you? And now, like, this is kind of like the performance. I know you're hurt or whatever, like, but I don't know at this point. At this point, it's getting like you've been cleared to play. And that's been reported, but we still don't see you out there yet. PJ Walker isn't the answer, and I think the Browns are just so obligated, and they have so many contractual obligations now that they couldn't go and get somebody at the trade deadline. Like, I think maybe they would have wanted to, because, like, what are you doing for me, Deshaun Watson? This is a team that's inside both of our top 10s, right? We're probably not the only ones who looks at the Browns and like, yo, we're putting you up there because you have the potential. Kareem Hunt's playing great. Amari Cooper's playing great. Njoku's playing great. Like, we have a great offensive weapons, just need the quarterback there, and they have a great defense, top 5, if not top 10 defense, you know? So I'm waiting for the Browns to get Sparta kicked the hell out. Just like we Sparta kicked the 49ers and the Steelers, bro. The Steelers looked abysmal, bro. The Jaguars, for albeit we said it was kind of a lackluster win, they went into Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh weather. The Florida boys, it was cold, it was rainy, and they beat them very convincingly in Pittsburgh. So you got to give the Jaguars credit, but you also have to kind of ridicule the Steelers, bro. Figure it out, man. Figure it out. Obviously, Kenny Pickett goes down, gets hurt. Yeah, Mitch Trubisky come in and do Mitch Trubisky things. So, what are you going to do? What are you going to do as the Steelers? Hopefully, they'll figure it out. Hopefully, with more first-team reps and more time, Mitch Trubisky looks a little bit better this week, or Kenny Pickett can get healthy as far as that goes.
So, report is Kenny Pickett is pushing to play this upcoming week. My problem with the Steelers, they played against the Jags, a tough Jags defense. Again, the Jags is a scrappy team. I won't take that away from the Jags at all. Kenny Pickett looked terrible before he got hurt. So this isn't because he got hurt. It's just that I knew I was going to Sparta kick them off because he was looking terrible. Yeah. And then he's out, and they went ahead and just lose because, again, you have Trubisky. So that's why the Steelers are out, because I want to see, again, when you get out of my top 10, you have to prove for a couple weeks that you deserve to be back in the top 10. So I want to see a couple weeks of the consistency from quarterback play from the Steelers. Y'all are not going to fool me just with defensive alone, though I love TJ Watt defensively and Highsmith on the other side on the D-line as well. So we'll see what happens with that. That's why they're Sparta kicked off, and they go to timeout for a couple weeks. Now, the 49ers, I kind of had this coming now. They go, come on. Not one, not two, but 3 losses in a row. Like, there's no way you survive a top 10 losing 3 games in a row. I don't care what team you are, right? So I think that's understandably why they're out. A lot of people try to hold on to them after their first loss, understandably.
I did. Because,
the field goal kicker missed against the Browns. And then you get touched up 2 more times in a row. It's like, okay, hold on now. Yeah, you gotta go. We kind of getting handled out here. The Vikings, picked y'all apart. Joe Burrow picked y'all apart. Now, with this trade, with the Commanders to get Chase Young, is this going to show up? Because it's been a defensive problem. Is the point I'm trying to make with the 49ers. I'm not worried about their offense. You got CMC. Now, he's not going to win the MVP because y'all have too many losses now. But he's scoring a touchdown like 20 games in a row. Like, that's crazy.
17, right now.
Yeah, crazy streak that he's on, right? Debo Samuels, I think, is a week away coming back. Their offense is going to be fine. Brandon Ayuk and everybody, they're fine. Yeah. It's the defensive end. You got to get to the quarterback because they're doubling, tripling Bosa, and no one else is getting home. So we'll see what Chase Young does. The 49ers has a bye week. So, with this, having that Sparta kick, you have a week to think about it. You're in timeout. Think about yourself. See what's going on. After the bye week, they play the Jaguars, right? So I will love that. Would be a great game for me to take the Jags out of top 10. If the 49ers can beat them, they give me a reason to take the Jags out. So I'm pulling for you 49ers to kind of just get better, get healthy. And actually, since Debo is like a week out, that bye week is probably all he needs. And Debo Samuels will be back.
Right.
Offense intact, defense reinforced. So those are my 2 49ers Steelers. And you got the Falcons, Austin. Why you swift kicked the Falcons out, huh?
Yeah, man, I had them in there. I was trying to give love to all the division heads, but right now the NFC South is just awful, man. I think everyone lost besides the Saints. The Saints did beat the Colts pretty convincingly, I'll say, too, in Lucas Oil. So maybe you look for maybe I should have put the Saints on bubble squad, but I mean they've been so inconsistent. They don't deserve to be in the top 10. But the Falcons were playing great. We're on a 2-game win streak. That's why they were in the top 10 for me. And I had the Buccaneers in place of them before that. But yeah, they lost again, unfortunately, for them, I guess I should say. But good for the Buccaneers. If you're a Buccaneers fan, the two people above us are both 4-4. The Buccaneers are 3-4. So that's good for me. I told you on good content. I said, I hope the Falcons lose. And they did. Well, they did.
In that game, they pulled the quarterback, Desmond Ritter.
Yeah.
Very interesting. They put in Taylor Heineke. Everyone
he was
him.
Balling, though. I will say that.
And they went against a buzzsaw with Will Levis from the Titans. Like, that's why the Titans aren't selling. They say, hey, we actually have a quarterback. we just had to get warmed up there. So Derrick Henry's not getting traded. You know, D-Hop's still there. He loves Levis loves D-Hop, and D-Hop loves Will Levis. Like, just air it out. 3 touchdowns to D-Hop, like getting the respect that he deserves with the Titans, getting some love. So that's why the Titans didn't sell off. But as far as with the Falcons, NFC South is wide open, man. So they're going to beat each other up for the remainder of this season. It's an open race for those teams, man.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who gets into the playoffs from the NFC South. And then after that, how do they do? How do you fare? You know, I think the Bucs are just missing some execution. It's that they have the pieces. That's why they didn't pick up anybody or get rid of anybody. They're just lacking the execution right now, which just sucks to see as a fan who wants to see them do well. Like, you have the people, you have the moxie, you have the fights. Just like you put the pieces together. So we'll see who's on the bubble next week, because we both got the Bills on the bubble, man. Good win for the Bills. And they're chilling. I guess to say they almost lost though to the Buccaneers. So they're on the bubble. Are you gonna play up to your level, or are you going to keep playing down to others? That's my question.
If they would have convincingly whooped the Buccaneers, then I'd be like, oh, yeah, the Bills are back, right? But, you know, I kicked them off for a reason. They're not consistent. They're doing just enough. I mean, you know, they picked up Rasul Douglas again for the secondary. Maybe they'll help out the defense a little bit.
Yeah.
But they're still, you know, I like it was between them and the Bengals to get my top 10. And I was like, well, the Bengals, I trust them more. I've seen them take it all the way to the Super Bowl. The Bills always flames out kind of early, you know, divisional round. They don't make AFC championships with this regime.
Yeah.
So I was like, I kind of trust the Bengals over them. So the Bills, you still got to prove it. I got to check their schedule later. But, I mean, just basically, you know, you got to hold pace until you play the Dolphins again. Then maybe you can impress me again personally.
Yeah, right. And it wasn't, honestly – it wasn't the game that I thought it was going to be. That I will say, having watched the most of that game, I couldn't stand it because the Bills were dominating, but it comes down to the end of the game. And that's where the game is decided, and you let the Buccaneers come back and make it close. Like, that's not good. You easily could have had Chris Godwin put his hands out and catch a ball, and you would have lost that game. And then you would have, you know.
He should have. They should have caught that. And it's funny, I mentioned the Bengals in this conversation with the Bills. That's the next game. It's Bills versus Bengals next Sunday. So, that will determine. Bills, if you lose this, it's going to be really hard to make it back to the bubble. I trust the Bengals right now.
That's a big game, too. It's kind of like a replay of the whole DeMar Hamlin thing that happened last year. So, that'll be good. A good thing to cover out next week on the Good Countdown. And I wanted to mention real quick before we go on to the bottom 5 and the MVP candidates, I wanted to say, not the dark horse yet, but we're keeping our eyes on the Texans, y'all. We're keeping our eyes on the Texans. They're playing great. They're playing great, but we need some more consistency. I say great because I didn't think they're going to be good. You know what I'm saying?
I losing to the Panthers, which, you know, that's a bad loss, right? Like, you're just trying to have a positive season, new quarterback. You know, Stroud is still playing solid, but you lose to the Panthers, it's like, okay, we're not a playoff team. I think it's pretty clear. The Texans aren't a playoff team.
Not the dark horse. I mean? Not the dark horse.
They were really close, though.
Yeah, they were really close.
But, you know, we're halfway through the season, basically, and it's kind of time to see, you know, who's real, who's not. And, hey, finish the year off with like 5 or 6 wins, and then, you know, we'll see what happens next year.
Right. Well, and we'll see how they do in the draft. We'll see if they trade out or whatever. But yeah, they should have beat them so bad. But I'm mad now. The Carolina Panthers are not 0-6 anymore. I forgot to fix that on my thing. They're actually 1-6. That's my bad. But they're 1-6. The Cardinals 1-7. And then you got the Packers, the Bears, and the Giants making your bottom 5 of the NFL. I gotta hear this, bro. You take it away, my friend.
Bottom 5. So again, these are the teams. They're in hot pursuit of the most viable draft picks in our generation, right? Like this is like, what's the last great draft we had? I guess probably the year Lamar Jackson came out. I don't know.
Yeah, like
it's been a while,
or something like that.
Yeah, this kind of comes every 10 years where you have like generational quarterbacks coming into the league, and that's what this is. That's exactly what this next draft is. So the Panthers, I root for them to lose every week, not because I'm mean-spirited against the Panthers, but just that because it's a DJ Moore trade. My Bears get the Panthers pick. That's a little short way of saying it. So however they finish, if they have the worst record, that means the Bears get the number 1 pick. So shout out to the Panthers. Now, just coincidentally, we suck too. So we may have 2 of the top 3 picks when it's all said and done. But Panthers will remain the worst team in the bottom 5. The Cardinals, you see they're selling. They got rid of Dobbs, but Kyler Murray, like, is he really going to play? It's going to take a couple weeks. So they're chilling here. They may play some spoilers, and they may actually move out of the top 5, which would be dumb, right? Because you have a viable draft pick that you can have, and you're going to win. I don't know. Like, nothing's happening this year. You know what I'm saying? Unless they're really trying to see, does Kyler Murray still have it? Because if he doesn't have it, and they just keep losing like they're losing with Kyler Murray, then they're going to draft a quarterback. But if they win with Kyler Murray, then I guess they'll probably trade out and get some picks and stuff like that. So, So we'll see. The jury's still out on the Cardinals.
It's audition for other teams, basically. Like, he could still play good. He's still this good. We'll give you, can we get something for Kyle Murray? Basically.
Exactly. So maybe that's not bad play. We'll see what happens with that, right? We'll keep our eye on the Cardinals. The Packers. Oh, I'm so glad seeing the Packers on the bottom 5. Because I'm a Bears fan and I want them to suffer.
I was going to say just a little bit worse than the Bears. Just a little bit worse.
I'm just saying, bro, the Packers, like, that quarterback sucks. And, like, there's no love for Jordan Love. It's, they are in quite the quandary because, if let's say they just keep losing and losing. Like, do you draft a quarterback? Are you gonna break this kid's heart? Like, like you're gonna draft someone in his face right now? I'm just saying they're in a weird spot. But if they get a top 3 pick or a top 5 pick, you kind of got to get a quarterback. I'm just saying, if you ended up this high, you got to get a quarterback. So if you trade that out, people are gonna be like, man, we could have had our next Aaron Rodgers. If you just would have drafted him, right? There's like 4 good quarterbacks coming out in the draft. So happy to see the Packers down here with us. We got the Bears right here at number 29. We throwing out arm wrestling kids and stuff. We just throwing all kinds of stuff out there. Free agents and everybody, man. It's good stories, good feels. We get Montez Sweat. Just bring him in on third down. I don't even let him play that much. Just be like, hey, just come in, rush the quarterback, then go. Go get some Gatorade. Keep you fresh for next year when we get an actual quarterback and build a team. So the Bears were building slowly, but we still, we can't win too much now. We'll win a couple, but let's stay in the top, top 3. Actually, we might have to lose a couple more right there. So the Giants, they're sellers, right? They suck. They lost 3 quarterbacks in one game, it seems like. And they played Leonard Williams. The Giants, they were sellers at the trade deadline. They're not going to win another game. I'm just going to tell you this right now. They're not going to win another game the rest of the year. Now, again, top 5. Does that mean you draft a quarterback? You just paid Daniel Jones $40 million a year. So, and nobody going to take that contract. Nobody else want no Daniel Jones. So they're in a weird situation as well, too, with Saquon. They kept Saquon. Unless they think Daniel Jones can make a push at the end of the year and they kind of get a couple more wins, because you end up in that top 5, you better draft a quarterback. That's really the mantra of this bottom 5. There's honorable mentions. Your Patriots. The news keeps coming out that Belichick hates Mac Jones. So Belichick, if he ends up like in the top 7, he's going to draft a quarterback. So that just is what it is. Belichick's not going anywhere. Everybody else is going somewhere, right? The Raiders, they snuck in here because of an abysmal Monday night performance.
Terrible.
I have not seen much worse quarterback play like ever. Like really, that was. I'm not just going to blame the quarterback, just like the offensive coordinator, the coaching, everything, the offensive line. I blame everybody but Devontae Adams. That's the only person I don't blame for the Raiders sucking like this. Joshua Jacobs, like, does he still play? I guess he's still out there. Like, they are really – this is a team. I don't encourage tanking, but the Raiders would be smart just to not win anymore. Get into the top 5. Draft your – again, this is your year. 4 teams are going to get the quarterback for the next future, for the next 10 years.
Right.
You need to lose right now. Keep losing. Right? Now, the Commanders is weird. The Commanders is weird because I don't mind, like, Sam Howell. I actually don't mind that guy at quarterback. Like, their offense is okay.
Bro.
They sold off their defensive line. So, are they going to draft a quarterback, right? I think this is the team. This is probably the only team that'd be forgiven if they end up with a top 7 pick. They may trade down and bolster up with some picks and stuff like that. So they need more offense. I mean, their offense is decent, but you just got to shore up. Maybe it's the O-line. Maybe you need like a true, a true number one. I know people say, Scary Terry McLaurin is great. Is he really a number 1 receiver? I'm getting some Calvin Ridley vibes from like, is he getting the ball enough? I don't know. You may want to get a true, like, hey, let's see if they get a top 5 pick and get Marvin Harrison Jr. from Ohio State.
Oh, dude.
Like why not, right? You need a new number 1, a real number 1 for the Commanders. So that's why they're down there because they sold off. I thought this would be the Titans. The Titans found a quarterback in their back pocket. And so the Commanders sold, and so they're vying for a bottom 5.
And it's funny to see that too, because I mean they did score 31 points. Sam Howell, like they're not an awful team, but I mean Ron Rivera just doesn't even know what's going on. He probably went to the office. He's gonna go into the office tomorrow. He's like, we traded Chase Young and Sweat. What the hell? Okay, but what did we do that for? I think he's gonna be gone at the end of the season too, along with this Commander's name. I think they're gonna do a wholesale thing. If Sam Howell might unfortunately fall into that weird quarterback carousel where they just have, different head coaches, different offensive schemes, different coordinators, and unfortunately they're just in that carousel and they don't look great because they never get put into a great situation. The reason why great quarterbacks become great quarterbacks is because either they're given their opportunity or they had that year, that 2 years to play behind and you get mentored by a great person. Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I don't know who Lamar Jackson, did he sit behind Joe Flacco? I mean, it's still
a few games,
at least able to watch his work ethic before he started. But how much better would Lamar Jackson be if he sat for a whole year behind a veteran QB? It goes a long way, dude. If you're an apprentice before you just get thrown in and called a professional when you were like, yo, what? I was going to college like couple of months ago. Now I'm QB1 of an NFL franchise. Like that's got to be hard mentally, not even to just slide into and much less play football and learn an offense and all that on top of that. So Sam Howell, I hope I'm a quarterback guy, so I hope that he has the opportunity to come back next year, like you said, get somebody, maybe get some more offensive linemen. Get a running back, sure. Like get somebody
true running back. Yeah, because it's like
offense.
It's like the pieces they have, they're generating offense, and you got to credit offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy, right?
Yeah.
He came over from the Chiefs, and rumor is, if they when they fire Ron Rivera, you just put in Bieniemy as a head coach, and then get a new defensive coordinator, figure out your defense because you just sold out on the defense. You got rid of 2 all-pro ends on the trade deadline. So
gone.
You've given up on his defensive scheme already. So chances is going to come. But like you said, with a new coach, let's just say it's Bieniemy as the coach. Is Sam Howell his guy, right? Does he really want to use him? Or is he saying, hey, I can probably get another veteran or somebody
Right.
instead of him. So
that happens too a lot of times. Yeah, when somebody new comes in, it's like, yeah, this ain't my guy. See you later. And it's rookie contract, so it's not a terrible thing to move on from.
Mhm.
Depending on how far they fall, now that they don't have a defense, like, yeah, we're gonna lose every game. Get rid of everybody on defense. We want to lose out. Hey, that might be the thing. That might be the thing. So let's move on to your MVP candidates. Now, I think someone fell off this list besides Christian McCaffrey. We mentioned him earlier, but no Patty Mahomes because he played so abysmally. But you're losing too much.
This is my thing. It's like, it's about the moments, right? And the wow factor. And if you're going to keep it real, though Mahomes was on my early list and they were winning, it wasn't really like a real Patrick Mahomes season so far. Like, he hasn't been like just ripping it up. Probably like 1/2 against the Chargers when he went crazy. The whole Taylor Swift thing is probably more impressive than what he's actually doing on the field. You know what I mean? So we made the quota with the Taylor Swift. So it's like, the thing is, with them losing, it was very convenient for me to be like, okay, let's go and slide them out. Because at the end of the day, let's say the Dolphins don't lose again, the Ravens don't lose, the Chiefs don't lose again. Who's been more impressive this year? Lamar Jackson, Tua Tagovailoa, and Tyreek Hill. They've been more impressive than Patrick Mahomes this year. I mean, that's just what it is.
Yep.
A bubble, I'm going to probably do this next week. A bubble guy right there that could be in contention, MVP, probably a very dark horse and sleeper. A.J. Brown is like literally doing the same thing Tyreek Hill is doing as far as numbers.
Right.
It's just Tyreek Hill is just more flashy with it. A.J. Brown is beasting with the Eagles. It's like T.O. type level stuff that he's doing over there.
He
right?
looks like it too.
Yeah, he has that same style, right? Big guy, he yards after catch, he out jump people,
jumping,
has a swag. So it's like AJ Brown is that dude. It's just Tyreek Hill just doing a little bit better. Just Tyreek Hill is my favorite receiver since Justin Jefferson's hurt. Jamar Chase got to win some more games, and we'll talk about that. But so at the top of it, it's Lamar Jackson. It's really his award to lose to me, meaning Lamar Jackson, you got to beat these big teams. You do have to put up the numbers against these big teams. We can't keep blaming your teammates if you're not balling out in these prime time, slotting moments, right? So as long as he holds pace with that and do what he needs to do, this should be an easier award for Lamar Jackson. But if he slips up, Tua Tagovailoa could slide right up there. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, do you give it to Tyreek Hill or Tua or like what? Hey, somebody got to throw the ball, right? I love Tyreek Hill, but I'm just saying the only way I think Tyreek Hill could overtake Tua is if they put Tyreek like in the backfield, like do like some design runs.
Yeah, Wildcat.
yeah. Then it's like, okay, well, the Tyreek Hill is but it's just Tyreek Hill, his numbers, he likely will break Randy Moss's record as far as yardage, which was unheard of when Randy Moss did it with the Patriots. Receiving record. Tyreek Hill probably will do that. So that's going to be insane to see if that happens. I think Necron got the yardage. I think Moss has a touchdown.
Touchdowns, right? He's like 25, I think 25.
Tyreek Hill probably could break both of those, or at least the yardage, which I think is Megatron actually. So shout out to Megatron. He don't get enough shout outs.
Man, he got owned out of Detroit, unfortunately, but they broke the curse somehow. But I think Tyreek has a chance. It'd be cool to see a wideout win MVP, obviously, just to have some difference in winning the award. But you're absolutely right, man. Lamar Jackson, it's yours to lose. You can absolutely have another MVP like season. I think this is actually maybe a little bit lower than the season when he was MVP and won MVP. But I think a lot of that is to do with the fact that everyone else in the league as a quarterback is playing bad. And that's why we should have 3 quarterbacks on this list, like a surefire 3 quarterbacks. You go back 10 years, the first 3 on this list are probably Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Aaron Rodgers. Like boom, 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 3 of the most elite quarterbacks of all time. And now we have 2 ifs and maybes, kind of like Lamar Jackson, very elite. Tua remains to be seen. He's elite now, but of all time, it remains to be seen. So I think that has to say, it's Lamar Jackson. It's his to lose, but it's still not as good as the season when he won MVP to me, which just goes to speak about everyone else and how they're playing. But, man, what an MVP candidates list. Patty Mahomes, man, he hasn't been playing great this season. I mean, you got to make the rest of your team play up to a certain level if you're that great quarterback, right? You make them look good. Now, he can't make everybody catch the ball. And I'm looking at what's his face? I can't think of his name. Who kept dropping the ball? They had
trash dude.
Yeah, we don't even know his name. We can't even. We forget. He's so forgettable, dude. So damn forgettable, bro. That's hilarious. But that's what I mean, though. Like, it's we gotta throw it to and if he's dropping the ball, Pat, stop throwing him the fucking ball, right? That's kind of on you as a quarterback, right? Like that Peyton Manning and Tom Brady aren't going to keep throwing them the ball. They would have got a talking to after they drop one. They get probably from the sheriff like, "Hey, don't you ever fucking drop the ball again? I'm never going to throw it to you ever." Like that's probably that's what Peyton Manning would have said to him. But like, does Patrick Mahomes had that? And there's a chance that he can come back up in the rankings, obviously. But for me right now, he's not here either for MVP candidates, bro. So, yeah, that is the bottom 5, the dishonorable candidates. We got to talk about the worst if we're going to talk about the best. This is the power rankings, and these are the least powered, but they're trying to power up for next year, right? And then we got the most powerful players in the NFL right now. So, big day being the trade deadline. Some big names on the move, just like last year. I don't know if there was any CMC type moves, I guess, as far as offense goes. Maybe it remains to be seen with Peoples-Jones going to Detroit. Maybe we can have some more dynamic offensive sets with him and Amon-Ra St. Brown, but Swift isn't there anymore. My bad. And then a lot of teams actually bolstered up their defense. So those are the teams that I think they know they're going into the playoff runs. And that's what you need. You need people on D because you're going to get hurt. You're going to be playing in cold environments. There's going to be some injuries. You need bodies. You need fresh bodies to put in there. So good on all the teams that made trades and all the teams that didn't. We'll see how that works out for you. I mean, I wish the Buccaneers are going to do something, but then again, it's kind of like a we'll wait and see. A lot of teams this season, let me put this back up here, are either going to make or break right now. This is the halfway point in the season, week 8 and 9. Now that there's 17 weeks, so some teams have made a consensus. We sold everybody we had, and we're gonna lose out for the season. Some other teams don't know what they're gonna be yet, and some teams like the Vikings, unfortunately, and like the Jets, they had their star QB go down. Now the Jets might have their QB come back and play at an all-star level, which would be crazy. And maybe the Jets will make the power rankings this season. We'll see. We'll see how that all plays out. But I'm very obviously interested for the rest of this week. Thursday night countdown is on Thursday, and let me check and see who's playing real quick. It is Titans, the homie. What's his name? Will Levis. Will Levis.
Yeah, Levis. Yeah,
he's gonna be playing
Will Levis from the UK.
The Steelers in Pittsburgh in prime time for his second start of his career, bro. This is going to be an interesting game. I can't wait to talk about that game on Thursday, bro. I mean, hopefully this game doesn't disappoint. The last game was a little disappointing for me, but we got a show at the end if you stayed up for it. So Thursday night countdown, the Thursday countdown. That'll be in 2 days, obviously, on Thursday, and we'll be talking about these games. Hopefully, if you're watching this, we didn't piss you off too much with where your team landed on our list or got kicked off. That's just the way it goes, bro. This is week to week, though. These lists, they fluctuate. And if your team, they're fluid, yeah. If your team isn't consistent, then they're not going to consistently be on this board, bro. We're waiting to Sparta kick them the F off, bro. But, yo, you got anything to say to the people before we get on out of here?
Like you said, Thursday countdown. Really excited for that. It's gonna be a fun game to look at. Like I said, the young quarterback Will Levis, and we'll see how if Kenny pick six, if he recovers in time. We'll talk about that Thursday.
we'll see, dude. If not, we're gonna have the Mitch Trubisky experiment go on, dude. And we all know how that goes, man. It's not pretty. So will Mike Tomlin be me mugging on the sideline? We'll see, bro. We'll see. But yeah, thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for interacting with SylNation Sports Network and my channel. The football coverage does not stop, and I can't wait for Thursday countdown either. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share, and give us your reactions in the comments. Let us know how wrong or right we are, and let us know who you agree with more. Do you agree with Sil more, or do you agree with me more? But yo, thank you everyone for watching. We'll see y'all on Thursday. All right, peace.